Alright guys, so what we got here is a TrailTech fan kit. Ordered this for the 2021 Beta 300 RR. I really like having a fan kit on my bike. As well, I'm as excited, if not more excited, for the digital temp gauge that is now going to be installed on the bike. As you know, I ride it as a snow bike with engine blankets on it, and obviously it's goes from -20 to plus 20 and higher Celsius. So understanding what the engine is doing and being able to track the temperatures is something I really think is critical. So this is the universal fit TrailTech fan kit. As you can see, it comes with this is the mounting zap straps that are supposed to go through the radiator and mount. I'm likely not going to use these because I have PTech radiator guards and braces, and the radiator guards have a built-in mount for a fan, which is pretty trick. So that's that mounting kit. And here we have some of the wiring that comes in the kit. Okay, nothing too crazy there. Here's the power supply that's going to go straight to the battery and run right to the unit. That is the digital fan kit right there. My trusty pocket knife. Okay. So again, little kit, little screen. Okay. Unfortunately, it does not look like it's going to have the length that I was hoping it was going to have for mounting it. But we'll figure it out. Of course, you got a bunch of zap straps in there. We'll get into the actual fan here in a second. Okay, here is the sensor. Okay, with the I'm not sure exactly what that piece is called, but that's the top of the sensor that actually goes into the radiator fins. So we'll see how that goes in, and that's how you get your temperature reading. All right, and then this is the actual fan itself. So we'll open the fan up. Again, it feels pretty heavy duty. I mean, it's a pretty nice unit. It feels very, very solid. But I mean, basically a Spall fan, which you can buy on Amazon for a lot cheaper than you can buy the kit. The problem being, when you buy the kit, you don't have to worry about how you're going to connect it up to power, how it's going to connect up into the temperature gauge, so on and so forth. So I don't know. Personally, I think the kit is worth the money. Okay. Zap straps, like I said. This little package here is thermal compound, which is you actually have to put that on the sensor prior to putting it into the radiator fins. And then, of course, you've got your trusty instruction booklet. Every dirt bike accessory ever sent out by any company anywhere, you get a sticker that looks good on a workbench or a toolbox. The instructions are just one page. It's not an overly complicated kit to install. Personally, I'm probably going to use a YouTube video because there's lots of them out there, and I think that's how I'm going to install it. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit shaky here. So those are my engine blankets for the snow bike, and then you can see up in there, that's the PTech guard. So you can see the nice mounting location for the fan. The Beta comes stock with room for the fan, which is nice, so you can see the space in there between the gas tank and the mounting location. So the next step is, and really, I mean, the only step other than installing, the temperature sensor and getting the wires all connected up, which we're going to go through, is the gas tank's going to have to come off. The gas tank removal is not rocket science. I'm not going to cover it in this video. Get the gas tank off, and we'll pick up from there. So first hiccup with the universal kit. The temperature sensor is a 10 millimeter sensor. Tech makes 8 millimeter sensors, which is what you need for the beta radiators, because this needs to press fit into the radiator, and it's not going to go without significant force, and I think likely begin damaging the radiator. Now, on the Tech website, they do say that for the universal kit, you can file down the sensor. This is just, I don't know what type of metal that is, but I don't think it's going to damage it, and it's not going to fit anyway. So I'm going to try and file it down, see if I can get it to work. I used the caliper to measure exactly 8 millimeters, which is the gap in between the fins on the radiator. So I'm going to use a caliper and try and stay as close to 8 millimeters as I can, kind of test fitting along the way to make sure that I get a nice press fit and this thing isn't going to back out on me. So I think probably worse than having one, slightly too big and just having to apply some pressure to wedge it in there would be having one too small and it actually not staying in. That sounds like a nightmare to me. So I'm going to take my time, probably going to file it by hand. I'm going to have my trusty calipers ready to go, and I'm not going to film it because it's going to be super boring, but I'll show you guys what I come up with. Okay, so before I start to file this down, hopefully you can see that in the camera. Basically, I took a permanent marker and just lightly traced the edges of the sensor, and that's about 1 millimeter on each side, so confirmed with the caliper. And then what this allows you to do is, as you're grinding, basically grind away until the marker's gone, and you should be pretty close. So again, I'm going to take it slow, test fit it, make sure that it's not going to get too small, but I think this is going to be the way to go. Alright, so there, you can see the side starting to grind away. It's the other side. There's the difference. Okay, so all I got is I got a little Dremel tool here. Okay, I'm on very low speed. And I'm just slowly working the one side until I get the majority of the marker gone. I'm actually going to leave it a bit thicker as I move back, so that even if the front end is a little bit too narrow, it'll wedge as it moves in, so I'm not going to take off as much material back here as I am towards the front. Just trying to slowly work it. Like I said, I don't want to take too much off. But so far so good. It's working pretty good. Alright, so there's the finished product. So I'm actually under 8 millimeters at the front. You can see I've tapered it so it gets a bit wider. It's just above 8 millimeters as you make it over halfway back on the sensor. Obviously, the end right here, it's still about 10 millimeters because I didn't want to go touch the wire, but it doesn't have to go in that far anyway. So it's a bit tapered. You can see the Dremel got away from me there once or twice. I'm hoping it's still going to work. Like I said, looks like it just conducts, heat conducts it, picks it up through this metal sensor somehow, so I don't think dremeling it down is going to have any impact. So, comes with this little pack of what they call thermal compound or thermal grease that has to be applied, which will stop, ambient temperature or air flowing through the radiator, hitting the tip of the sensor and causing an inaccurate reading. So I'm actually going to put this in, I'm going to put this on right up here. I'm going to put it right up at the top. I want it kind of as high as I can get it. Okay, so got a little ahead of myself. Couldn't really find a good way to film it anyway. So what you have is, for the universal fan kit, you have your battery, the harness that provides power to the battery, to the fan. Okay, there's the negative. So for the negative lead, I did not connect it up to the battery. I connected it up to the ground on the frame here. And then for the positive, obviously the positive back to the battery. And we're gonna zap strap, get all these tied away. Always follow existing wires whenever you can. So for this one, it's gonna tuck right up under there. It's pretty clean. And then it's gonna follow this wiring harness that goes all up underneath the frame, underneath the tank. And it comes out right here. So there's a little bit of extra here. And that's for the battery. So the battery lead, you can only really do this all one way, so that's nice. There's the Trail-Tech sensor. There's the lead back from the battery. Here's where it connects to the fan, and here is the thermostat, the temp gauge with the sensor into the radiator. I did use a rubber mallet and gave that a couple of taps to really wedge it in there without really getting too crazy on it. You can see some grease. Jeff Slavin's video, I mean, he doesn't put the sensor all the way flush right up against it. I'm not going to either, because I don't want to force it any more than I have to. Seems to be picking up temperature. I'll only truly know once I actually get the bike going, but it seems to be working, and it is wedged in there pretty good. So, as with every project that has to do with wiring, now it's about testing and adjusting, trying to find a spot to put this gauge, cleaning up the wires, zap strapping them in place so they're not going to move, cause any issues, and then firing it up and testing it out. Okay, so my GoPro has died during the install, but I'll keep filming on my phone. Sorry about all the movement here. Okay, so not even sure where I left off, because I cut out from this project last night, back at it this morning. Wires haven't changed anything. Still got the temperature probe up here in the fan. It's wedged in there pretty good. I don't think it's going anywhere. The biggest issue I've run into now, I mean, other than having to grind down the sensor, but that's not the company's fault. The universal kit comes with a 10mm sensor, and you need an 8mm sensor to fit into the fins, but from all the research I could find, there's no issues with grinding it down. It shouldn't affect performance at all. The other issue is finding a place where to mount this gauge, temperature gauge. So as you can see, the wires come out of the back, so it's not like an hour meter that you can just double side tape, throw it on, stick it on anywhere, and it's good to go. This one comes with a template, so it's a sticker, and it shows you where to cut. And so, installation videos online will show you, you can cut into your bodywork somewhere or what have you, and it just kind of mounts itself. You can see these little attachment points that are not spring loaded, but they're just like a pressure fit, and you can take the gauge in and out just by releasing those. So I found a piece of scrap metal kicking around. My Dremel has gotten lots of work in this installation, and I basically cut out a mount, and I'll show it to you after, but I verified that once I put the bodywork on, slide the mount up, put the bolt in, the way I have this mounted, and it's vertical, not horizontal, but really, who cares? I'll be able to see it. So, I mean, either I can lean down and take a look, or when I get off the bike, I can check the temperature. There's not enough wiring for me to get it up under the gas tank and get that gauge somewhere up on my handlebars. But honestly, I don't know where I would put it up on the handlebars anyway. It doesn't really work. So here's going to be fine. This won't be the final mounting solution forever. I have a feeling that this bracket will likely, it's pretty flimsy because of the metal it's made out of. I don't think it'll be an issue for snow biking, because snow bikes tend to, when they tip over, when you go down on a snow bike, it's usually into powder. It's pretty soft. They're usually, snow bikes look pretty good after the winter, but in the summer it's a completely different story, as you all know. My worry is I'm going to tip over and snap the bracket off. So I don't know. I'm going to see how this works. I might get maybe something like a billet, maybe not billet, but some thicker aluminum or something, you know, extended so that the mount maybe would come further back and I could actually bend it in and tuck it up maybe back in here a little bit more under the fan, so it's protected, and the brace would take the majority of the punishment if it tipped over. But for right now, I just want to get it wired up and see how it works. So I didn't film making this bracket. I wouldn't recommend that anybody, you know, follow me and make this bracket. Like I said, it's pretty flimsy, but it's going to work for now. All right, so there it is. All installed with my homemade bracket. Wires, not super happy with how they're run, but I kind of ran out of options, and I don't like kinking them up too bad. So tucked it up out of the way as much as I could. But like I said, I think I'm probably gonna want to find, you know, a different mounting solution for the gauge. I'm actually thinking of getting a bracket made and maybe putting it up in here somewhere. So it would be in kind of this little window or something, maybe off I don't know, off that bolt or something. But I don't know yet. But for right now, that's where it's going to be. I'm just going to see if it works next.